Welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Jacob DeGate, and it's now my pleasure to have in studio, we have Chett Chiasson, who's the Executive Director for the Greater Lafourche Port Commission. Chet, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Jake.
All right, talking about the port, tell me the latest what's going on. I know you have some infrastructure projects that you'd like to discuss. Can you tell me what's going on over there?
Absolutely. I mean, we have some two large infrastructure projects that's taking place right now down in the southern part of the parish that we're involved in. And that's the largest one is the LA1 Elevated Improvement Project. We just had a groundbreaking for that a couple of weeks ago. Very excited about that project kicking off because it's kind of the culmination of about 25 years of work
Yeah.
that our community, the business community, our state and federal delegations and all the different agencies have been working towards. So that's a $463 million project that has taken place to complete that elevated LA1 project. And obviously it's critically important as we're in the middle of hurricane season today, that project come to fruition. Now it's going to take several years,
Yeah.
right? You know, we're looking at a 5.5 more 6 years of construction on that project, but what's coming on the back end of that is you know, a resilient highway that's going to allow for access, better access to the port, back from the port for Grand Isle as well, and all of that entails pre and post storm. So it's critically important as we're dealing today with, you know, high gas prices. The barrel of oil is very high in terms of, you know, right around $100 a barrel. You know, the access to the Gulf of Mexico is critical, and this is going to allow us to have more resilient, better access pre and post storm.
Yeah, it's amazing to see it come to fruition. I mean, I can remember when I was probably a teenager, so when they first started talking about that, and of course you had the first sections, you know, built earlier, but this will finally, you know, complete it and get that access that we desperately need.
That's correct. And I think the important thing is I see a lot of, you know, in social media where people say, oh, you know, this is more tolling and all that. And that's actually not the case on this portion of the project. This portion of the project is this $463 million is all cash, you know, so to speak. So there's the toll that's being charged out there is not for this portion of the road. That's the only reason why that toll is there is to pay for the first segment that was built, actually about $150 million, the bridge that was built out there. So that's what the toll is there for. Outside of that, this bridge has been built with you know, cash dollars from multiple sources.
Okay. Now, other projects you have, I believe you have the airport corridor as well going on.
That's correct. That's about a $30 million project that's taking place. We worked with the parish government on that and the state capital outlay and federal dollars as well from what's called a build grant. A build program doesn't exist anymore. It's called something else now, but
Sure,
but
some
it used to be the
acronym.
Tiger grant. Now it's the build grant. But anyway, we have about 16.5 million of federal dollars coming in for that over about $30 million project, actually about $32 million project being built to have a better, safe corridor to access from the 4-lane highway, LA 3235, what we call the back road down the bayou in South Lafourche, getting us from that road, a safe connection to LA1 with a bridge, a lift bridge, a new lift bridge there that connects directly to the airport road on the 308 side to get to the airport. So it gives us better access. And that's what we're all about, right? It's about providing access so that we can hopefully entice business to come into our communities for economic development and those sorts of things.
And I'm sure it's important to actually have, it'll be help with right after the storm being able to get back up and running as soon as you can.
That's correct, because, you know, at the airport, although we have a you know, really nice runway and parallel taxiway and instrument landing system and the whole gambit out there, there's a lot of helicopter traffic that operates out of there, getting the to and from the offshore installations in the Gulf of Mexico. So that's a critical path for many companies, many people to get back offshore pre and post storm. The other thing is we have a large amount of acreage around the airport that we purchased many years ago from LL&E. And that property has been kind of dormant for a long time because it's hard to attract new business when you have access issues, right? So this better access corridor that's going to be built is going to allow us to attract new business. And we're actually in the process right now of working with Louisiana Economic Development to get that area deemed a certified site for those properties. So that should be able to allow us to attract new business into the area.
Okay, and is there a specific timeline for construction on that project?
So that project is under construction. We have about another year and a half left of that. And then we're off to the races in terms of getting people better access there.
Better access, and I guess in terms of trying to locate new businesses to come in and develop that economy as well.
That is correct. And you know, as we move forward into the future, it's always, you know, in light of these storms that have come, you know, Zeta and more recently Hurricane Ida, which was disastrous, you know, it's really important for us to bring new business, new investment in our community so that we can continue to move forward.
Chad, we're talking a little bit about the airport, you know, a corridor being under construction right now. Tell me some more about the airport.
So the airport is really a busy airport, and we have a lot of things going on out there. And I think it's important to note that we continue to build in that area, and that we actually do have an airport that's fully functioning. And in fact, the state of Louisiana Department of Transportation Aviation Section, their latest economic impact report has stated that we have a $98 million impact to the state's economy. Wow. With that little airport that not too many people know about back there. I think as we move forward, we're in the process of designing a new terminal back there. So we're gonna be building a new airport terminal. We're trying to coincide that with the airport corridor construction being completed. So in about a year and a half, we hope to have a new airport terminal built back there, and we're going to continue to attract new business for that airport. So we're really excited about the future of that whole footprint down at the South Lafourche Leonard Miller Jr. Airport.
And that airport is it serves both helicopters and regular planes
and
as well?
Fixed wing. Correct. We have several fixed wing aircraft that are based out of the airport. We do a lot of work during the summer where the fish spotters come in and they utilize the airport, and they park there, and they buy a lot of fuel, which is good for us.
Is that looking for Pogey?
That's exactly it. They're working for Omega Proteins, and they're the fish spotters. So there's a lot of things that have going on with that from the legislative standpoint. We're not in the middle. We're not in the middle of all that. It's that whole fish spotting situation is good business for us and our community. So we appreciate them utilizing the South Lafourche Airport on an annual basis for that work.
Well, certainly, you know, brings in some economy to the area.
Absolutely.
I know you have some other other projects going on at the port itself as well. Can you tell me a little bit about those?
Absolutely. There's numerous things going on there. So I'll just start with this. And I know you have other port directors come on here and other levee districts that talk about the Corps of Engineers, and we deal with them as well. So the Corps is responsible for our jetty reach in maintenance, operations and maintenance of the jetty, and Belle Pass and Bayou Lafourche in Port Fourchon. So they're coming in to do some maintenance dredging here later in the summer, in the late summer, early fall. So I guess the point is that they're doing their job. You know, it might be a little slower than we like it, but they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and maintaining our channel. So we appreciate the work that they're doing and the relationship that we have with the Corps over the years. So they're coming in to do that. And then from there, they're going to be doing some jetty repair work, hopefully later this year as well. So we're happy, again, with the relationship we have with them, and they're doing the work that they need to do, and we're looking forward to doing some deepening even of the port, and we've talked about that numerous times on this show. So we appreciate the work that we're doing with them. Outside of that, we're continuing to build a little bit of bulkhead, providing more access for future development, bringing in new tenants, new customers for the port. So we're excited about that, and we're just finishing up building about 250 acres of marsh with some dredge material.
Oh, wow.
In our port. So we do a lot of work with our dredge material. When you talk to folks here, there's a lot of people talking about creating marsh dredging and doing. We're all about beneficial use of dredge material. Every speck of sand that we dredge in Port Fourche is utilized beneficially to either build new marsh or rebuild marsh that has been lost over the years, or building up for, areas for industrial development.
Well, that's certainly great to hear, because sometimes you can't, put people on the same page to be able to get, you need to get your dredging done, but also create another project that sometimes it becomes too much and you can't do, both because of the different agencies involved. Correct. But it's great to hear that y'all are able to work together and create that coastline.
That's correct. And it's important as we move forward that we all think in that manner, where, anytime you have the ability to generate a source of material that we need to rebuild some of these coastal areas, we need to do that. And we worked very closely with different agencies like CPRA, EPA, NOAA, the Corps, all of those entities. And I think we're getting to the point where we're all on the same page that anytime we have the ability to utilize dredge material beneficially to build up the marsh in the area, we're going to do that.
Now, is the material that's making up the marsh, is that from the channel itself or from actually inside the slips? Or
both. It's a little of both. So we're utilizing. We have some projects coming in very soon that are going to allow us to use the channel dredging to build some marsh on the west side of the port, in that marsh headland area. And then we're also doing some work in dredging our slips. And when we dredge those slips, we're building new marsh in the area as well.
Well, hopefully that then marsh will, serve, the extra benefit of providing a little extra buffer, a little extra protection for everything, infrastructure involved.
That is correct. It's important that we do that. We all know coastal protection and restoration is critically important as we move forward in the future. I think in the Fourche area, we're doing as best we can. And not just us. I mean, all of these entities. CPRA has done a great job bringing in projects to restore the beachhead and everything there. And we're very happy to partner with them on that. And it's sustainable. We've built marsh 20 years ago that is still there, and it still looks the same.
Well, that's certainly good, because I know a lot of marsh that was there 20 years ago is no longer there, unfortunately, after those storms that we've recently had. A little bit about the port, what's going on with the project, but of course we had Hurricane Ida that caused a substantial amount of damage. I know we've talked last time you were on, talked a little bit about some recovery that y'all have been doing. Can you give us what's the latest with the port and its recovery from the damage?
Absolutely, thank you. It's been a slow process, and I think anybody you talk to that deals with the FEMA process from a government entity standpoint talks about the slow process. But we're, almost a year out, we're finally in a position where we're bidding these projects out. And we have the public boat launch bathhouse that is used a lot, especially in the summer, that we just approved bids today, actually, at our board meeting. So we're moving that project forward. That's a $319,000 repair. Wow. So let me compare this to when we built that elevated bathroom, basically, it cost us $375,000 to build. The repair is now $319,000.
I'm sure some of that has to do with inflation.
Absolutely, well. It's mostly due to inflation, quite honestly, because it wasn't catastrophically damaged, But at any rate, that's the kind of things that we're working on. And then, every one of our building facilities that we own in the port or in Galliano or at the airport was damaged in some sort of way. So we're in the process of we're advertising for just about all of those. Our admin building in Cutoff is going to be under advertisement later this month. So we're moving the ball forward, and we're going to be under construction on all of those facilities within the next 2 to 3 months. So we're excited about that process moving forward and getting us to where we need to be. We're living out of a temporary office right now. kind of operating as best we can, and we're doing a pretty good job of that in that temporary office. And we're happy to be able to have that. But it's time to get working and get things done so that we can be in a position to move forward.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get back to doing the work that needs to be done, not cleaning up all the stuff to get you back to square one.
That's exactly correct. We're ready for that.
All right. Switch gears a little bit to about, I know alternative energy is always one hot topic,
Yes.
and it's something for economic development in this area that needs to be looked at. I know you've done started looking at wind energy and whether that could play a role in this area. Can you tell me a little bit about your trip that you took out to Block Island, where they have their offshore energy forum?
Yeah. So I guess I should say this first. We don't believe that we're going to replace oil and gas. Okay. Oil and gas is here to stay for long. No matter what anybody says, wherever they are, oil and gas plays a critical role in our everyday lives, and that's going to continue to do so. And we're gonna be that service base, and that community. This region is going to service oil and gas as long as it's there, and I think it's there for the long haul. But as we're looking forward to the future, there's a lot of momentum coming right now in the offshore wind space. So we're doing our due diligence as a port authority, as a community, working with the parish, as a region, as a state, to position Louisiana, to position this region, to position Port Fourchon to be that service base for whatever offshore energy there is. Right now it's offshore oil and gas, and coming, we believe, offshore wind in the near future. So because of that, we've been taking part in numerous events, conferences, learning about offshore wind. What does that mean? What does that look like? So I was very happy to have the opportunity to go to Block Island in Rhode Island to see the first offshore wind farm that exists in the country up in the Northeast. There's 5 turbines that are creating about 30 megawatts of power. And I guess the most interesting thing was we go out there and we look at the base of those structures that were built right here at Gulf Island.
Really?
Right?
Okay.
They're jackets. They look just like the offshore structures that we see every day. So when we were able to actually see it up close and personal, it was really, really good to say, hey, if this is the way we're going to construct these things and place these things, they look familiar. The people from this region currently that we live in have taken part in the construction of the first one that exists in this country. It's coming to the Gulf. We should see a lease sale by the federal government by the second quarter of 2023, we understand. And the state is obviously very, very interested in having offshore wind projects in the state waters as well. So we're playing a role in that. We're positioning ourselves to be a key player in whatever that'll look like. And I think offshore wind is probably something that we'll see in the coming years.
And I know that there's been some momentum in Washington to try to include in Go Mesa to be include for wind energy as well, to be able to recoup some of that money that goes, if it's being spent in the federal waters, to get a portion of it to help with coastal restoration as well.
That's correct, and there's some work that's being done now for that. Our delegation is working on that, and we'll see if any of that happens and how that comes to fruition. That's going to take some work, but I think as we move forward, there's going to be a lot of opportunity. And the reason why the Gulf is something that's interesting and our region is something that's interesting to these offshore wind folks is because the expertise is here. It's our offshore oil and gas expertise that is going to play a role in offshore wind.
Well, Chett, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it all, as always.
Thank you for the time.
All right. Stay tuned for more right here on HTV.